Hello everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Verdict with myself and Martin Dixon. We've got a lot to get through, a lot of top class action that's taken place over the last few days. We've picked out the best of it. And Martin, I think we've got some really good stuff to go at.
We have, kicking off with the best of the lot, I think, starting in style.
We're starting with the Irish Oaks and the success of this filly for John Gosden and Frankie Dettori, Starcatcher. This is an interesting race to analyse. Let's jump them out the stalls and watch Dettori ease his way to the front. And we're going to talk a lot about the easy, soft advantage that was afforded Frankie Dettori. He leads at this stage. He's got Peachtree just sat in behind, who was presumably in there as a pacemaker for this horse. Pink
and
Dogwood. Well, and Fleeting.
And Fleeting.
Indeed.
Held up.
Okay. Now, let me just get your general observations, first of all, on the success of Starcatcher.
Well, I think, first and foremost, she's a very smart filly. She's progressive, she's thriving, all of those things. But there is no doubt that there was a huge tactical element to the race. The time confirms that. They've come home in 34.4 seconds, 112% finishing speed for the last 3 furlongs. He has had an easy lead. And I think if we pause it and just pick up the horse in second here, which is Peachtree. Now, she was the outsider of the whole field, Angus. She's a 20-1 shot. She's got no chance on form. But she has been on the big stage previously. She went to Epsom. She ran in the Oaks. She set a fairly strong gallop in the Oaks. She went to Ascot. She ran in the Ribblesdale. She set a strong gallop in the Ribblesdale as well and pushing the pace along all the way. And I think it was her job, essentially, to be there to push the pace along. And it doesn't happen at any stage. Now, at this point, it's quite clear Dettori's got to the front, he's dropped anchor, and he's getting an easy time of it. But the job isn't done yet, because Peachtree can push that pace on at any point, really, up to about 5 furlongs from home, and kind of act as a little bit of a spoiler, and at the very least, make Starcatcher work a little bit harder for the win than she has to do. But that doesn't materialise. We can see that from the finishing speed of the race anyway. And they've allowed a very good filly an easy lead under probably the world's best rider who's riding out of his skin.
Who's brilliant from the front, afforded an easy lead. It's it's around about now that Shamie Heffernan could have gone up to the girth of Starcatcher, and he could have thought to himself, well, we're going a bit steady here, let's push this on a bit. And not only would have that ensured a better gallop, but it would also have helped probably Pink Dogwood, who's pretty much given how the race was run, out of her ground, right out the back.
And Fleeting as well. So the other 2 Ballydoyle horses on the inside, both of them held up. Both of them would have benefited from the pace increasing further out than what it did. And there are, even now, you can go up on the outsides of Dettori and Starcatcher and just push that pace on and make them work a little bit harder. Now, it might be that Peachtree just isn't capable of doing it, and maybe she just had an off day, but it looks like, certainly through the early part of the race, she was taking a keen hold. They're obviously still stacked up, and it doesn't materialise at any point. So Dettori gets it bang on Starcatcher, but he's just taking advantage of the situation that's really handed to him. Yeah,
so on that basis, he's handed success to a degree, Dettori. On that basis, Martin, this filly, who I think was a bit unlucky in the Oaks at Epsom, I think if she'd been ridden a little bit more positively, she'd have gone quite close to winning. She's done very well, hasn't she? She's only beaten half a length.
She's done extremely well, yeah, and you could argue that she was the best filly on the day, coming from the position that she did and the way the race unfolded. Starcatcher, we saw her at her best. It was a really good performance from her, but she was seen to max advantage on the day. You can't say that about Fleeting, and Fleeting's a filly she hasn't won yet this season, still only 2 career wins, the Mayhill at the end of her 2-year-old season being the last of them, but on all 3 of her last starts, she went to the Oaks. I agree with you, she ended up a long way back, finished off well. The Ribblesdale, she conceded first run to the same filly, who again got an excellent ride from Dettori at Ascot. And then again, here she clearly ends up with a little bit too much to do as the race develops, you know. But it's all because that pace, in my opinion, hadn't just been pushed along early enough to at least make Starcatcher work a bit harder.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? So here's your winner, and she's just quickening from the front now. And all of these, they're all in a line, and they're all doing their level best. They're all quickening up. But when you're rated in front as steadily as Starcatcher has been, you do all your running just to get to her rear end, if you like. And it's very, very hard to peg a horse back who's got such an easy lead, and he's finishing the race off 12% quicker than she ran the rest of the race. So they're all trying to sprint to get into contention. In particular, let's talk about Pink Dogwood. I thought she made a big move into contention, but she used all her speed up to get into contention, and then she got tired. A little bit like the Oaks, where she made an early move in the home straight, and she's dropped away again. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't think she was at the same level on the day as she was in the Oaks. She's probably a mile and a half is an absolute max for her. I would like to see her go back in trip a little bit. I still don't think she was probably quite in the same form as she was in the Oaks. Iridessa was the other filly on the day. She came into it on the back of winning the Pretty Polly, but she just ran flat regardless of tactics. She was held up out the back of the field, but it wasn't because of the tactics that she got beaten. She just had, for some reason, she had an off day. But look at this filly. I mean, you talk about John Gosden, Frankie Dettori, Anna Perna, Medei, who was unlucky in the Oaks and went to France and won a Group 2. They've got Lartidar, they've got Starcatcher, they've got Enable, they've got Coronet. Just endless Group 1 middle distance fillies in that stable. And most of them from different yards.
This guy, he's still got it, and what, hasn't he?
Oh, fantastic. He's having a brilliant season. We've seen it time and again. And, you know, the whole relationship ever since he joined with John Gosden has worked fantastically well.
Yeah, when he's confident, Frankie, when things are actually going his way, he's absolute magic. He really is. He's brilliant when his confidence is right up there.
And it has been for a couple of years now again, hasn't it? We've seen him at his very best, and on the big stage, in my eyes, there's just no better jockey, and we see him make the right calls near enough all of the time.
Yeah, indeed. That was the steadily run Irish Oaks. Congratulations to Frankie Dettori, John Gosden, Star Catcher. Those in behind, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with them down the line. Now,